So, chat, mark my words. I'm calling it off a whim. Like, this is solely off a whim. Like, heat of the moment, spur of the moment whim. Boruto chapter 27 setup. Like, these next few chapters, this arc, the start of this arc, Mamushi invading the fuck out this village, might shake the foundation of the start. I don't know why. Tell me if I'm wrong, chat. I don't know. I just feel it. Like, Boruto pulling up in the village, fire. Jaw-breaking, shocking, revelations. Sarada versus Hidari. Himawari Nine Tails revealed. Mangekyo gang Sarada in the Hidden Sand mission, bro. All of this still had that same touch to it that was like, I don't know. But for some reason, this arc, now y'all tell me if I'm tripping or if y'all feel it too, like it's undescribable. I can't really put it into words, but this arc setup feels so major, like some crazy shit is about to happen. Like, I don't know how crazy this is about. Maybe pain. I don't know if this is the pain arc, but the repercussions that the village had after pain was like crazy compared to like the first couple. Like, yeah, the Kazekage mission was crazy. Niggas had to get Gara back. Niggas had to fight off Sasori. Niggas had to fight the, what's the name? You know what I'm saying? Asuma died. That hit niggas hard. Crazy. I'm not gonna lie. Jiraiya was a different type of sauce. I would say maybe this is probably like Jiraiya versus pain level, but I don't know. I feel it's like, so much. Maybe we're getting to that level, right? Because we haven't had any real repercussions. A lot of the things that have been going down solely because Kashikoji has seen worse things happening, and he's like, all right, let's do this to avoid that, right? And one of the major byproducts of this, which unfortunately isn't that really heavy on our hearts, is the death of Yodo, and resulting in the awakening of Sarada's Mangekyo. Understanding in another future, Sarada's Mangekyo would have awakened either like in a world where too many people died, and she awakened it in a world where it's like, damn, like at this point, it's so many death around me. Or maybe it never even gotten awakened, right? And then in that future, it was like completely very much terrible. So at the end of the day, whatever Kashikoji sees, he just understands a Sarada with a Mangekyo, good. Sarada without Mangekyo, bad, right? So similarly here, we have all of these things unfolding in chapter 27, and it's like, I don't know, for some reason, like Jirai and Hidari pulling up was wild. Matsuri and Ryu hunting down Boruto and then us trying to get the drop on them was wild. But for some reason, Mamushi pulling up, it's like, it's different sauce. We got the chapter ending off saying the demon army is officially approaching the village. So I think a full-scale war is officially breaking out. And just because I have this weird feeling this chapter, let me know how y'all, I don't know, man. I'm going to approach the review a little different because this is very like 10 out of 10 weird in a good way, weird in an absolutely amazing way. The build up was phenomenal. Like, Two Blue Vortex have been having this slow build up since the start, but I feel like these last two chapters, they I don't know, he really slowed it down, but still somehow sped up a lot of the plot points in the story. And then chapter 27, of course, give us so many different answers. And also, I'm reading this and I'm like, well, okay, this is something that's going down. And then boom, we go on to a next plot point. I think we had like 4 freaking plot points and then 2 subplot points within this chapter. Like, that's actually crazy. So of course we got the Sarada and Damon issue. We talked about this when the spoilers released. Damon was just trying to flex his strength and show he's big about it, right? The major thing that came out of that entire interaction was the reveal of Ada, right, having a real good heart-to-heart moment with both Sumire and Sarada and admitting the truth of the immunity behind these girls, and Ikimoto acknowledging one of the most popular theories in the community over the past few years was that Sarada and Sumire being in love with the Otsutsuki solely meant they were going to be immune to omnipotence. But Ada was like, if that was the case, both girls inside and out the village, meaning that Boruto and Kawaki's, you know what I'm saying, fan club girl harem was way more bigger than any of us initially thought. But Ada's like, girls around the world, bro, love these niggas, bro. If that was the case, it would be a whole lot of people who was immune, but that's not the case. So Ada draws the conclusion, I had to make y'all, you know what I'm saying, unaffected subconsciously. And this is probably, I would say personally, is like the second most popular theory amongst the community after the love theory, right? And then after this theory, it would go something to do with Sumire's Nue or Sarada's Mangekyo or potential Uchiha connections. But those were the 4 main theories, and it looks like Ikimoto was sticking with the top 2, at least implementing them into the story as a possibility and one one being confirmed. So Ada's like, yes, subconsciously. And it makes sense understanding how her character is built up that we can talk about in videos to come, right? Emotionally seeking that type of connection and bond, and Sarada acknowledging that and strengthening her resolve in terms of like letting Ada know, like, nah, shorty, I know how things may have started. You probably was the enemy, and then the enemy of my enemy becomes my friend. But right now, shorty, we best friends, right? Her, Sarada, and Sumire, they all come together, they hug, and Damon's just sitting there looking cold as ever. So amazing moment between these characters, and definitely a lot more to talk about regarding like how it makes sense that Sarada and Sumire are immune, and then also a lot of overlooked situations, especially once Ada entered into the village, right? Because we forget, especially during that interaction when Sarada first saw Ada, she was there with Shikadai, and at the time we also thought Shikadai might have been immune to omnipotence, right? But it was because they didn't get a good view at her. Once everybody got close, Shikadai folded like an omelet, and both Sarada and Sumire, Sarada specifically, right, admitted that she felt like an overwhelming force coming from Ada. And then after that conversation that Ada brings up, Sarada offered that extension of friendship. Sumire mentions, like, don't you feel fine? So it kind of is like Ikimoto really gave us the answer in real time. But he was like, hey, let's see if somebody can figure it out with the actual proof that we put inside of the story, right? Now, if I had to be honest, I would say one of my key highlighted moments of this chapter was definitely Inojin being confirmed to have learned a new jutsu. Not only that, but in order to avenge Himawari. That means Himawari had officially bit the dust in the heat of battle in an alternate timeline, and as a result, Inojin embodied the second rule of the Hidden Leaf Village: always get your get back, and got it back in blood by mastering a new jutsu that Kashin Koshi emits. This will be crucial in defeating Mamushi. He'd be lying if he said it wasn't, right? So we can be funny, right? And I already know I'm going to pull out jokes, especially on a podcast. Like, Mamushi is Inojin level. But honestly and truly, I like how Ikimoto is showing the power balance in the story where it's like, yes, things are getting much crazier in the scales, and the power creep is much higher, but also the technicalities, the details, and the hacks are also something that balances it out. So we understand with Mamushi's weakness, he gets dumber, he gets easier to help be dealt with like an animal. Also, on top of that, his pain threshold does. So basically, if there's more of him, someone can simply throw a jab and he can feel that extremely, extremely hard. Think Blackbeard from One Piece. He may be strong, but he cannot tolerate any pain whatsoever. So once he gets dumb enough to the point where he can't capitalize on his speed and overwhelming strength, right, because Kashin Koji says his movements become more predictable and slower, then we can have figures like Chocho level, Shikadai level, and even Inojin level actually make some damage and get some results in against Mamushi. So they're going to have to figure out a way to really get behind his ability, and Shikamaru already put it out in the open. You let too many be made, they're going to get overwhelmed. You leave too little alone, he's going to be too smart and strong in order to be dealt with. So it's a real fine line in how to defeat these guys. But Chad, I'll say this. Damon is very interesting. Jura is very interesting, right? Now, it doesn't have to. I saw a comment that really had me think about this, because I also was a heavy firm believer. Now I retracted a little bit, but I still am a believer. But I saw a comment that said, somebody was arguing between the strength of Damon and Jiro on Twitter. Typical Twitter nonsense. And then a comment that stopped me. It was like he was responding to someone who tried to basically outsmart him, where it was like, okay, when was it ever stated that Jiro was stronger than Damon? And that's true. I'm like, exactly. When was it ever stated? And then someone said, well, when was it ever stated that Madara was stronger than Sakura? And I was like, yeah, that also was never stated. But we all know that Madara was stronger than Sakura. So I'm like, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense, right? That definitely does make sense. And you have to acknowledge when things actually make sense and contradict your beliefs or opinions or stances that you make. However, even going deeper into the story, I don't find it like, you guys don't find it fishy that every time Jura is mentioned, every time Jura is brought up, and the possibilities of taking him down, figures like Kawaki are mentioned, figures like Himawari, figures like Boruto are mentioned, right? And I believe it's clear cut and dry that right now, none of those figures are stronger than Damon. However, Damon and Jura's name have never, ever been brought up in the same sentence. And isn't it ironic how in the same chapter where Damon effortlessly exercises his dominance over a Sarada who just one-shotted a Shinju, and Damon admits she did that easily, Damon effortlessly told her and another person, like, I can snuff both of you guys out in an instant before you even realize you were dead. So I don't know what they're setting up, But every time, if you think about it, where the world was on the brink of destruction, Boruto getting shot out by Jura, Boruto getting jumped by the Shinju, Boruto almost dying by Jura in the hidden sand, what do they all have in common? And in each of those situations, had Boruto died, the world would be over and a divine tree, a true divine tree would be planted. What do each of those situations have in common? Damon was nowhere near the vicinity. Granted, he's in the village where things are going on, but he's not there at the fight. So I don't know if Ikimoto really can't think of a way to justify it, but I believe he's about to introduce something big specifically regarding these characters. I believe Damon, Jura, and of course, my god, Mamushi. Now, the Mamushi invasion is happening. We're going to see how it unfolds. He got 5 of them right now. So we're going to see how they're going to go about trying to find Ada. And we know Damon is going to be next to Ada 24/7. So I'm thinking at the very least, Damon might be going up against 2 to 3 Mamushi clones by himself. We might get some more revelations. I'm hoping, at least on Damon's part, more abilities aside from reflection, and definitely on Mamushi, another ability that might possibly catch Damon off guard. That might be the split second or moment that Mamushi needs in order to get the 1-up. But I think there's more to it simply by saying, like, Damon isn't strong enough. I think there is more to it. Why? Damon is not, 1, being mentioned in any conversation with Jura, and 2, every time we see him, he still seems so confident that he's number 1. I don't know what's going on, but you guys tell me. Anyways, Kashin Koji breaks all of that down. And then in the midst of hearing all of this, Shikamaru was like, okay, so we're going to have to do that. And we're going to have to figure out a lot moving forward within the next week. Inojin was like, bro, how am I supposed to learn this new jutsu, you know what I'm saying, in the span of a day? You're bugging. And Kashin Koji was like, yeah, but you learned it in order to avenge Himawari's death. And Inojin was like, correction, you didn't hear what I said. I said, how the fuck am I supposed to learn the jutsu in 2 days when I can already master it in 1? Let's get to work, gang, you know what I'm saying? So Inojin's locking in, Boruto's locking in, and Kawaki's locking in because he's threatening Amato to get some more power-ups, and we're gonna have to touch on that because apparently, without saying it, but it's been said, Kawaki has full Ishiki's power. And Amato is saying your body can't take any more power. That means he's trying to go past the threshold that even Ishiki and Amato originally saw Kawaki as when they thought of him to be the vessel. So that lets us believe, like, bro, we might even have to upscale Jury even further because they're watching the footage. They're watching the highlight tape. And Kawaki is like, bro, if I just, like, collect my steps right there, 3 more diameters, right? Perfect my technique on that move, I can get the 1-up on this guy. I need it, right? Prior to his limiters being removed, Kawaki was like, yeah, I felt it. There's no way to beat him. He got his limiters removed. He's like, I can't beat him right now, but I still feel it. Like, it's possible now. It's very possible, right? So all of these power-ups are occurring. And then, of course, it'll be very awesome once full Iron Man Kawaki come out, his nanotech suit. We're going to see what he's going to be doing, what type of new abilities he might possibly break out, but definitely keeping the Akebi situation on the back burner, right? And then we moving even past all of this. Speaking of power-ups, we got Inojin getting new stuff. Kawaki's getting new stuff. Sumire has finally got a technological upgrade in terms of Boruto giving her secret skulls to the current research she's conducting, basically the end results. And he's saying, Shorty, can you fix this sword? And I'm not gonna cap, I really, really like this power-up because, like, when you think about it, Naruto-verse power-ups have always been transformations, modes, new jutsus, or more extinguished or dignified chakra, right? And then when you touch on other anime or other shows, it's like weapons can power up people also. Weapons can definitely power up. Now, granted, with a show, like specific shows that have maybe, you know, holy swords, regalias, or ultimate weapons or something like that, where it's like the character's fighting skills might be there, but once they get this weapon, they're able to do things that they clearly weren't able to do before, and they're much stronger, faster, techniques are more refined and potent, right? So now I'm looking in the Naruto verse, I'm like, well, if Boruto gets a stronger sword, that's like a good way to, because we've already been questioning, well, damn, Boruto is so strong, how much stronger can he get? Well, we see he can simply focus on refining his chakra because losing his focus even allowed his blade to get chipped in the first place. So there's a skill issue there, right? In terms of jutsu mastery and jutsu creation, unless we get a new update with Kashin Koji's ability, I'm pretty sure Kashin Koji done told Boruto every jutsu that 19, 20-year-old version of himself created, his bag as deep as it can get. It's only about refining his abilities and somehow getting stronger through that process, right? So he's like, all right, let me start looking at other things that I could do aside from karma. How about this? I get a new sword and I come back slicing and dicing niggas' necks crazy. I think Boruto's sword is about to be so OP, and this is probably going to be one of the best power, like the the most unexpected power-up, granted, right? Because I'm thinking his next power-up is coming from Karmasil or Jogan. No, his next power-up is coming from his Kusanagi blade. Sumere's about to pimp his ride out, bro, and he's really about to be out here thugging, so I'm looking forward to it. Boruto Chapter 27, as I already stated, set up so much, guys, and even so, like, so many questions, because at the end of the chapter, it's been several days later, and Mamushi is here invading. So we got to understand, like, what has happened since Sumere began her research, what has happened with Konohamaru and Lord Kube, because we know, like, I don't stress up, like, all right, I'm going to just say this about Konohamaru. Lord Kubo was looking this man in her eyes. He was like, he's not even naive. I want to call him naive, but that's too nice. The nigga's just dumb. He's not the mole. Like, I don't know what y'all want me to say about that scene, but the fact that they glossed it over and Shikamaru made his plea at the end, right? It's like, okay, Konohamaru, you're going to be able to help us out or not, gang, right? And then we understand it's been several days. So I don't think Konohamaru got apprehended. I don't know if he convinced Lord Kubo or something. Maybe some more information got spilled out. Nigga, Sai has been grilling him since the entirety of the chapter. And I think, right, like, I'll say this. Ikimoto is doing an amazing job with the entirety of this cast. In Naruto Next Generations, we had a solid 5 to 6 people that the story was on. And then aside from those 5 to 6, it only touched on the villains. It only touched on antagonists, right? So we had Naruto Sasuke, Boruto Kawaki, Shikamaru. Like, literally, part 1, Naruto Next Generations was those 5 characters, and everybody else just came around. And this part 2, every fucking body is getting shot. At this point, I wouldn't be surprised by chapter 35. We're talking about the secret that Chocho learned maybe 2 chapters from now. Will she reveal it? And will that ultimately help her power up to team up with Nue to take down this new threat? I wouldn't be surprised at this point if that's what we're going to be talking about in 7 months, guys. At this point, I would not be surprised. So chapter 27 was gas. Stay tuned for more videos to come. Until my next video, let me know how y'all feel about it. Boruto 2 Blue Vortex set up so much. And I think this is actually the most like real nitty and gritty chapter. Like I said, I feel the setup. It has this weird ominous feeling to it. And I think this is about to be real big. So let me know how y'all feel about it. It's your boy Black Child. Till my next video, holla at your boy. I'm gonna holla at y'all. Black Child. Yes, sir. Ski.